W-T-L.
It's time!
W-T-L.
I think we got a show. Oh, yeah, we got a show.
W-T-L.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I am your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back. We're back.
My goodness, and you were smashing some
Yeah.
parlays. We tweeted out most of them, I think, there.
For sure.
That you were hitting on left and right. A couple two-teamers in there. I felt like you were almost cheating. With
Yeah,
just the
two-teamers, that's where you really, when you need to hit one, drop it down to a two-teamer.
There you
But
go.
especially
That's all right.
when you're riding a high on a team like I was with the Lakers last week, you knew that they
Man.
wanted to win that in-season tournament.
Yeah.
You knew LeBron and AD were going to, pour in the points, get the rebounds,
Yep.
get the double-doubles. You knew that was going to hit. So, yeah, I rode them for a lot of money this week. And then, some of that football got there as well.
Yeah, that was a fun tournament. I think it was a success overall.
Yeah, definitely was.
Just the blowouts kind of surprised me in a way. And you were spot on with LA and LeBron wanting it. They obviously wanted it more than everybody else. And LeBron's sitting out again.
Yeah, he sat out last night, so he's back to resting mode. But we'll see him in June probably. So
Yep. And after the weekend, we got to remind everybody for our 100th episode, we are going to be at the Herdat Sports Bar. Yeah, you heard that. And then their live studio there. We're going to be going live December 18th at 6 p.m. There's going to be drink specials. There's going to be food specials. We're going to have a couple of guests. Jeremy Odom, we've had him on before. Marissa Voss, we've had her on before. We're going to talk a little, get it back into her wheelhouse, talk a little hockey, hockey talk.
Can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll take this, thank everybody that's made this 100th episode possible.
Yeah,
all
for
the
sure.
support and listeners and everyone that's hung in there with us. This has been a lot of fun so far, and I think we're getting better and better.
We're getting better and better every week.
So let's dive right into Thursday Night Football. 7:15 over on the Amazon Prime. They got the L.A. Chargers head on over to glitzy Las Vegas, where the Raiders are a 3-point favorite. Total is only at 34.5.
Yeah.
Now the look-ahead line opened up at 42.5.
Yeah.
When it got reset on Monday, no. The over-under was 34.5.
Yeah, for sure, Andy. The Chargers have underachieved all season long, and now likely, not going to have Herbert for the foreseeable future with that broken finger. That means Easton Stick, in his 25 career pass attempts, is going to get the nod at quarterback. That's why you see that total is so low, and that's why you see the Raiders as the 3-point favorites here. The Raiders have issues of their own. Yeah. They have had their issues of their own, but Aiden O'Connell has shown flashes, and they continue to play hard under Coach Antonio Pierce. So I like the Raiders here. The Raiders have been competitive in 3 straight weeks against the Dolphins, Chiefs, and Vikings. 3 pretty good teams, and then the scoring defense has improved in 9th in the league. So I really think they have a one-up here against a very not, experienced quarterback in Easton Stick, and that Raiders defense is getting where it needs to be.
All right,
Crosby's going to be all over him.
You need to pump your brakes right here.
Okay.
Yeah, you took me right where I wanted to go. Easton Stick.
Yeah.
Omaha Creighton Prep grad.
I get it.
He only won 4 national championships.
Good for him.
For the Bison up there in North Dakota State. He got flung into action his redshirt freshman year where he went 8-0. Followed that up in 2016, went 12-2. That was his bad year when he went 12-2. That was his bad year. Still won a national championship.
That's a down year.
14-1 as a junior, 15-0 as a senior with 4 natties to his name. You mentioned only 25 pass attempts. 24 of them were last week, though, when he got thrown in the mix.
Yep.
When Herbert went down, he went 13 of 24. Not bad for not seeing a lot of action the last couple of years. And he's a running threat.
Yeah.
That's how he did it in high school, and that's how he got it done up in North Dakota State. And he's been in the league a few years now. So this is his opportunity. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
And for that alone, I think they can hang in there and stay within 3.
Ooh, no.
No?
I just don't see
like
it
Houston.
happening.
Come on, Stick.
I really think that this pass rush by the Raiders and Max Crosby is going to get on him.
Yeah.
He's going to figure it out quite early that this is not North Dakota State. But the one thing I do like, Andy, there's a player prop out there that I already like in this one.
Okay.
It's Gerald Everett. He is the Chargers tight end. His over-unders all the way down to 29 yards right now. I believe that sky's over. He's going to be looking for Gerald Everett the entire time, and receptions out of the backfield for Austin Eckler's at 4.5 right now. I think that's a lock as well. So I think he's going to be dinking and dunking a little bit, trying to get the ball out fast. So I really like Gerald Everett, 29.5 yards over.
As of this recording, you already mentioned that the Raiders have their issues as well.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams, questionable with the illness.
Yeah.
You also got their leading rusher, one of the leading rushers in the league.
Josh.
Josh Jacobs. He's questionable with the knee injury.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting to see who wants to come out and actually play, who wants to perform for the Raiders. I think that's going to weigh in pretty heavy on how this one's going to go down.
For sure. Make sure you just tune in and see who's playing in that game before you bet it.
There you go. And some sites don't even have Easton Stick starting.
Right.
They got the kid out of Council Bluffs.
Council Bluffs.
Give old Iowa Tucky a little shout out there.
No doubt.
Pretty cool to see some local guys in the
For
league
sure.
doing
It's
well.
awesome.
All right, let's move on to Saturday.
Saturday.
Full slate of Saturday games on the NFL Network. They're
Yeah.
going to start it at high noon with the Minnesota Vikings heading on over to Cincinnati. 2 teams that are 7-6. How about that? How many teams are – the NFL is all
It's
about
stacked
parity.
up right now.
It is so stacked up. So many teams are 7-6, 6-7, 5-8, 8-5. But here we go. The Vikings 7-6. The Bengals 7-6. This is going to be at Cincinnati, where they are a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, Andy.
It opened up as kind of a pick'em.
Yeah, it did.
And then it moved to more and more money just kept coming in on the Bengals.
Yeah, and I think it might even get further out than this, Andy, before kickoff on Saturday. I'm seeing some books already jump up to 4 points.
Oh, really?
3.5 to 4 points. So if you're on the Vikings, make sure that you get it in after it gets to 3.5 or 4. I don't like it at 3. I just believe the Bengals are kind of riding a little bit of a high right now.
Yeah.
I believe this quarterback, this Jake Browning, is kind of getting his feet under him.
I guess.
And I really did not like the performance I saw out of the Vikings last week, beating the Raiders 3-0 at the 2-minute warning of the fourth quarter.
That was
so
something.
it was a terrible game to watch, and I just really thought Josh Dobbs had a lot more explosiveness in him.
That's over.
And I think that's over.
Yeah.
Tape's out on him. I think it's going to be a little harder for him to score on this Bengals defense. I like the Bengals in this one, Andy.
And Browning already burned you once. That was one of your misses a couple weeks ago. And he had like a career. I mean, something ridiculous, like 25 and 29 for 350, whatever it was. It was crazy.
He burned me.
And then he was pretty solid last week. So at home, banged up Minnesota team, that makes sense. Should we move on to, real quick. 40.5.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. It really stayed there. Opened at about 40, stayed there.
Yeah, I think it stayed there, Andy, because nobody really knows how to bet this.
Yeah.
It's probably right there, but if I had to lean away, I would lean on the under just because of, the offensive output is not there for the Vikings right now.
Yeah.
Even, he got his brand new shiny toy back. He got Justin Jefferson. He got Hawkinson still, and they still were not able to move the ball at all.
Yeah.
I still don't think that they're going to be able to this week. And Cincinnati's not blowing the doors off anybody either. I believe the Bengals will be the winners in this game, but I'm leaning under in this game.
The under has hit 9 of the last 11 Viking games. You're probably in pretty good company in that train of thought.
I think so.
All right, let's move on to the next in-line Saturday game on the NFL Network. You see how you do that, Disney, ESPN? When you have 2 games, stagger them so everybody can watch all of them on your network.
We want to sit there all day and watch it, just not flip back and forth.
We have the Pittsburgh Steelers heading on over to Indianapolis, where the Colts are a slim 1.5 point favorite. Pretty much a pick 'em here. And once again, 2 teams that are 7-6, and they just won't go away.
They will
Everyone, has so much shade to throw at the Colts and the Steelers underperforming this, that. Well, guess what? They have winning records, and they're vying for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Take it.
You have to take it, Andy, and I'm all over the Colts right here. I just cannot get behind Steelers and Mitch Trubisky leading the charge.
Come on.
And a banged up defense, Andy, and
Mr.
a really
Biscuit?
banged up defense. The Colts have been playing pretty well up to that Bengals loss and are,
You've always been a Minshew guy. You've been a Gardner.
I do.
You like the jorts. It's the shorts.
And he just had some really good pieces around him with Pittman Jr. and Downs.
Yeah, he's doing good.
I really like him here. I just feel like the Colts are in the better spot right now, especially with Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt questionable for this game. Give me Indy. I really like it in this slim, if you can get in this slim under 2.5. One.
So I was doing research for this show, and I was looking for stuff on the Colts. They are so average.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And their stats are average. Zach Moss, running back, is the 15th leading rusher in the league. Pittman, the receiver, he's like 19th leading receiver in the league. And then Minshew sitting there at like 20th leading passer. They are just in the middle of the road across the board.
Just score a couple touchdowns and you're going to be in the game, and that's how they win games, Andy.
And guess what? That's better than Pittsburgh.
That's way better than Pittsburgh.
That's better than what Pittsburgh's doing right now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying with Pittsburgh here is if those rushing props are really low for Michigan, get on those. That is so easy.
What was that, like the fourth play of the game or something?
Fourth play of the game. I'm just saying he's going to be out there. He's going to be running. He's going to be running because he's just not that good of drop back passing. He just isn't. He's going to be on his horse.
Yeah.
If it's anywhere under 20 yards, he's going to be over it. He's going to be over it. So look at Trubisky rushing yards before the game. If it's anywhere under 20, definitely do it.
As a longtime Chicago Bear fan, Mitch, he's quick to run.
For sure.
When that pocket starts to collapse, he gets out of there.
Yep.
And that might be his best card to play, too.
It is.
All right, you heard the horn, so we're up against it. But real quick, that total has been bet down to 42.5. I mean, aren't you thinking under?
I think I am doing. I think there's going to be a lot of running the football in this game. I believe Najee and Warren get a lot of snaps in here.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep this game close, on both sides of the ball. So I believe the under is the play.
Hey, we agree on something.
Hey!
First segment, we're already there. Okay.
Look at that. Look at that.
Let's take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. We've been enjoying the EOS Hefeweizen, one of their core series brews. Described as a Bavarian wheat beer, this unfiltered brew may be a little sweeter than traditional German Hefeweizen, highlighted with notes of vanilla and nutmeg. You get all that?
I did.
It's a good beer.
It's a good beer.
That's all you got to know. Nebraska Brewing Company, world class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Glass, and joined by
Jabron.
the parlay pounder.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to give us a parlay here, or are you going to make us wait?
I always make the people wait, especially when we're coming into bowl season, Andy. We're going to get into college football right now. Some of these teams I don't quite know as good as the Big Ten or the Big 12. So it would be hard for me to feel good about putting out a parlay with these college football teams. But no, we got some more NFL coming up. We got some more UFC coming up.
Oh, there we go.
That's where I really shine with those parlays. So we'll get a couple going in the next segments.
Yes, not to put the cart in front of the horse here, but yes, UFC 296 with a stacked card. You knew we were going to get into that.
I am ready.
But you mentioned it. It's bowl season, so let's talk a little college football.
Yeah.
And let's start in New Mexico, the New Mexico Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, December 16th, we're going to have New Mexico State. The Aggies quietly had a 10-win season. Went 10-4.
Yeah.
And they're going to take on the Fresno State Bulldogs, who went 8-4. When I just opened up the book and looked at it, my first thought was Aggies money line. It's in New Mexico.
Yeah, it's the New Mexico game for them. Yeah. No, I believe you're correctly hit the nail on the head there, Andy. I'm sticking with New Mexico State, like you're saying. The Aggies were able to hang with a great Liberty team in their last outing and nearly pulled off an upset despite giving up a whopping 712 total yards. A total of those yards are 393 of those yards came on the ground. So there might be some scoring in this game, Andy. So New Mexico State will need to shore some things up before this bowl game. But the good news is that the Aggies have scored 31 or more points in 3 of their last 4 games and should keep that trend going, Andy. So I love New Mexico State right here, even with the little bit of shifty defense there. Yeah,
and they're a 4-point favorite.
Yeah.
They're a 4-point favorite. So that's right off that key number of 3.
Yeah.
That total is sitting at 51. You just talked about all the yards, all the points being scored on New Mexico State. I don't know. You got to kind of be thinking over.
Yeah, I think the over is the play, Andy. The only thing that you're going to look at, though, is that as for Fresno State, they have fallen off the table in their last 3 games, scoring no more than 18 points in any of those. So it doesn't seem like you'll get a lot of, backing with the Fresno State crowd. But we just said that New Mexico State defense isn't as good as what is offered here. The only thing I want to say about Fresno State is has failed to cover the spread in 7 of their last 8 games.
Ouch.
Kind of, turned around their season a little bit at the end of the season, not playing their best football. So I love New Mexico State. I love the over. And like you said, they're at home. It's a New Mexico Bowl. I think they're going to be feeling really confident in this one and come out to play.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Fresno State offensively because they still averaged on the season over 68 plays per game. They still averaged 30 points per game. So that meant they piled them on, especially in the non-con. But down the stretch, they stumbled a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, not terrible, though. They're still 8-4. They're still here. I think they can chip in and help us get to that 51.
Yeah, I think the over is the play of the game, Andy, but I do like New Mexico State as well. I don't see New Mexico State falling along with that, so I really like the Aggies to cover as well.
On that money line.
Yeah.
All righty, let's move on to the L.A. Bowl.
Woo!
That's going to be on 6:30.
Is it a Big Ten school?
I guess so.
Yeah, it is.
The UCLA Bruins,
Yeah.
UCLA, they went 7-5 this year under Chip Kelly. And, he was on the hot seat. Of course, he is every year. That's how it goes.
Every year.
Boise State went 8-5. This game's going to be in LA, of course, the LA Bowl at SoFi Stadium. Pretty cool place. And it looks like UCLA, it's bouncing around. I'm seeing 4s. I'm seeing 4.5s all over the board here. They're 4.5-point favorites.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, Andy. It's around 4.5. And I have to say that I am leaning towards the UCLA Bruins. A lot of the same reasons, kind of a home game for him. Chip Kelly doesn't have the best record in bowl games like you alluded to, but he has at least a lot more going for him than Boise does right now. You think of the Boise State game, you think of, fun plays, you think of the Oklahoma play, the Statue of Liberty play.
Kellen Moore, all those guys.
They have lost their 2 top quarterbacks coming into this game, Andy.
Ooh.
So this is a huge get for you if you can get on UCLA, because I think this will be bet up to about a touchdown by the time this kicks off. So I really like UCLA, but I think...
That's terrible injury news heading into a bowl game.
Terrible injury news, and then it really kind of dampens the whole football team when that happens as well.
And what have you done for me lately? Boise State has only covered 1 of their last 5 games. UCLA has covered 5 of their last 6 games. So you have 2 teams going in 2 different directions here. And oh, by the way, it's the LA Bowl, and it's the University of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about here?
It's the same thing.
Hold on. I got an idea.
Yeah.
We need to have the Lincoln Bowl.
Yes,
Lincoln,
we
Nebraska
do.
Bowl. We can get back to a bowl.
And we can still
do it.
lose by 3. Yeah.
We'll just set that line at 3.5 or 4. The Huskers can do it.
Yeah.
All we got to do is throw our own bowl game here. Let's see that total, 48.5. What are you thinking on that?
Yeah, I mean...
It really stayed still. This line has not moved at all.
I really think people are going to sidestep this just because of the uncertainty on the Boise State side. And UCLA is kind of having some injury juice on the offensive side as well, even though they have more capable options than their starter anyway. So I really like to sidestep this one. If I had to pick, I would probably say that they're going to score more than that. But that's with the inclination that some of these guys are going to play.
Right, and we're seeing that. We've been seeing that for years now. These bowl games, guys sit out.
Yeah,
guys figure out a way to sit out.
Sit out. Yep.
And for a lot of guys, and the counter argument is, well, it gives these guys an opportunity to be seen and all this and that. Well, you had an entire season to be seen, so I don't know what one more exhibition game really does for a guy. So it's hard for me to hate on the players is kind of what I'm getting at.
It really is, Andy. One thing that you got to kind of keep in mind, I know I'm telling people to bet UCLA, but the underdog has won in each of UCLA's last 4 games. So if you're on the Boise State, that's a good stat for you.
Yeah.
But I really do like UCLA at home, like we're saying.
I was just looking up and down their win-loss chart, and they've had a up and down
for
season
sure.
For sure. They're 7-5, so that's why they're at the LA Bowl.
Yeah, that's why they're at the LA Bowl.
They're not in Pasadena.
No,
they're in
they
LA.
are not.
All righty, so should we move on to the Independence Bowl?
Let's do it. This one's going to be fun.
Kind of working up the tree here.
Yeah,
the Independence Bowl. That's going to be an 8:15 kickoff night game on ESPN.
Yeah.
The California Golden Bears. They're sitting at 6-6, taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Guns up.
They're also 6-6. That's what you need to do, right? You need to win 6 games to get to a bowl game.
That's what it is.
So these are 2 teams that got in by the skin of their teeth, and Texas Tech is your field goal favorite, -3 favorite.
Yeah, Andy. Someplace you can still get this at -2.5. I'd assume Cal will be motivated in this spot, considering they finished the season strong with 3 straight wins to become bowl eligible, like you were just saying.
Yeah.
With that said, Cal doesn't play a lick of defense, that's why the Golden Bears got rocked anytime playing a decent team. Auburn, Oregon State, Utah, USC, Oregon all had their way with Cal this season due to that defense being 109th in total defense and 113 in scoring defense.
That's out of 132 teams.
That is very, very low, Andy. Texas Tech, on the other hand, I believe, is battle-tested, physical, can run the football, and has simply done more against better competition. In fact, the Red Raiders only lost to Oregon by 8 points, while Cal gave up 63 to that same team. So, laying less than a field goal, give me Texas Tech. I love them.
That's just it, though. I'm not talking about winning. I'm just talking about covering here.
Yeah.
And Cal, I believe, yes, 4 of the last 5 games they have covered.
Yeah.
Forget the wins and losses. They've been able to cover here.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. It's a bowl game, but this is 2 teams where we're talking about all these high-flying athletes, you know, for UCLA and Ohio State and everything else that are sitting outside and getting out of the bowl game. These are 2 teams where you're not having that issue. Not to the scale of all these other, I would say, more high-profile games.
Yeah. So, I would say if you had a touchdown on this, Andy, or even, 10-point, spread on this, I would give you a little bit of leeway here. But this is too slim of a spread for Cal to be in this game. Like I said, anytime that they have stepped in the arena with a decent,
formidable opponent,
they get blown out of the water.
Yeah.
I believe Texas Tech guns up all day. 2.5 is free money. I believe this is the best bowl game to bet this weekend.
Yeah, you're a Big 12 guy.
Yeah, for sure.
The Pac-12 is no more here in just a couple of weeks.
This team doesn't have a home, Andy.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, they're still good. One of the best teams in the Big 12 now, obviously.
I guess so, yeah.
But no, give me Texas Tech all day.
How about that total? 57 and a half.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. Most people are thinking, Big 12, no defense. Pac-12, no defense. Probably the over. I'm backing the under in this game, Andy.
Really? Why?
Just because I don't believe Cal can score, and that Texas Tech offense is really good at running the football, going to make this a fast-paced, clock-running game. So I like the under there. I like Texas Tech to cover. So under and Texas Tech by 2.5, 3 is my best bet of the weekend for college football.
Yeah, that's some good tidbits there, because everyone that thinks of Texas Tech thinks of the old Mike Leach days,
for sure.
right? Rest in peace, Mike.
Yeah.
And the run and gun and all that stuff. And now it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
They like to run the football. They do a darn good job doing that. And Cal, you highlighted a couple of times there, they cannot stop the run.
They cannot stop the run.
So what?
It's gonna run all over them on Saturday.
I mean, Texas Tech could hit their season average of like 28 points and just hold Cal to 14 or 7.
Yep.
And there you go, not even sniffing 57.
Yeah, no, and 5 of Cal's last 6 games against non-AP ranked teams have gone under that total. Same with Texas Tech on the other side.
Yep.
Last 4 games against non-AP ranked teams has gone on that under as well. So I really think there's some good data out there for the under and for Texas Tech to cover this spread.
All right, guns up.
Let's go.
Let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back Everybody to WTL, where's the line? I'm your host, Andy Class, and joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the pie pounder.
You got it. We're back.
And we're getting right back into the NFL.
Let's do it.
We have primetime games across the board, and we're going to start off on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's like college football, you're going to take a little break. Well, the NFL is going to slide right in there.
Every single day the NFL gets now.
Yes, they do. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're just going to do it all. We're going to do the night game then on Saturday, 7:15 kickoff on the NFL Network. Denver Broncos heading on over to Detroit, where the Lions are a 4-point favorite. Coming off kind of an ugly loss, right?
No doubt.
To my Chicago Bears, kind of took care of business.
Yeah, division games, always play a little tighter, but Justin Fields looked really good in that game.
Yeah.
DJ Moore is a superstar like we all knew he would be if they can get him the ball. That Chicago Bears team looked pretty dang good. On the other hand, I think the Detroit Lions with this spread right here kind of getting the benefit of the doubt given they've been the better team over a longer a larger sample size, and they're at home. However, I think the Lions' defense has fallen off a cliff, Andy.
Oh, they're benching, I think, with that corner.
Exactly. Over the last month, and Goff has been sloppy with the football. I cannot believe how much he turns the ball over. Mm-hmm. The Denver Broncos remain one of the hotter teams in this league with wins in 6 of its last 7 games, Andy. And the offense has finally helped out the defense a little bit. We're getting a 4.5 point or 4 point cushion here, Andy. Hot Broncos team. I think they could win this game outright. So give me that 4.5, 4 points. I love that in my back pocket.
For me, the Broncos have been the surprise of the NFL this season. For sure. For me, it really has been. And you mentioned winning 6 of the last 7. Took care of business last week. Beat the Chargers 24-7. Kind of, I don't want to say dominated that game, but they were in control.
They were in control of it. The defense was definitely in control of it, not letting that Chargers, high-flying offense get off track there. So I really like this Broncos team right now.
And now's not the time, Detroit. They're sitting at 9-4, good season, all those things like you talked about. They're at home, but they're doing some soul searching right now. I mentioned that cornerback that was lined up against DJ Moore. Yeah, they just straight up said, "You're benched.
Yeah, you're done.
You're not a starter.
You have to
anymore.
Work to get back to this." The one thing I do want to say with the Lions, Andy, this season the Lions have won each of their last 6 games following losses. So it seems like they do bounce back pretty tough. Yeah. But something that contradicts that, the Broncos have won 4 of their last 5 games against teams that held the winning record. Yeah. So they're playing their best football against really, really good teams.
Where they started to turn heads is when they knocked off the Chiefs.
No doubt.
Talking about Denver, of course.
Yeah.
This total's at 47.5. I think you're starting to see some money come in on the under.
Yeah, Andy. It's just because that Broncos defense seems like it's playing very, very well right now, and the Lions have failed in the department of getting down into the red zone and putting in for touchdowns. Yeah. So I really think the under is probably the way to go here. I'll probably sidestep this one just because either of these teams can score some points. One player prop I love, Andy. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown, 60-plus yards at a minus 110 bet right now. He had an off week last week, only had 25 yards. I believe he gets the ball a lot more this game and gets at least 60 yards. I think it's a slam dunk play because he's one of their playmakers and needs the ball, and they're going to factor on him as well.
Anybody that's had him in fantasy knows that's a pretty solid bet there.
Love that play.
He's been a mainstay.
I'm going with the Broncos, but I love that that prop for Amon-Ra St. Brown over 60 yards.
I like that, and I really like the Broncos to cover here.
Yeah.
4 points, give them to me.
Love it.
All righty, should we move on to Sunday night?
Yeah, this one's awesome.
All the way Sunday. This is a really good one here. Baltimore Ravens, they're already at 10 wins.
Yeah.
10-3, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, heading down to Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, where they find themselves a 3.5-point favorite on the road.
Yeah, Andy. And you kind of got to look at Trevor Lawrence right now. Is he banged up? Is he not banged up? He played last week. I do think he's going to be all right for this game. I'm leaning towards the over here, Andy. I love the over at 43.5.
43.5
is where I'm seeing it at most places.
Okay. I think you can still get 42.5 if you're looking.
This may change throughout the week, especially with the injury news services. But normally, I love a primetime under. But this reality is both of these teams have been scoring points in bunches as of late.
Yep.
But both have also very suspect defenses as well, so have been giving up the points frequently as well. So I think this has a heavyweight fight written all over it. A couple of the best teams in the NFC. Give me the over in this one. A player prop I really love in this one, Andy.
Okay.
It's our guy, Lamar Jackson, over 50 yards rushing. I believe he puts together a couple 20-yard rushes, and he really puts this one to bed probably in the first half. This guy is a playmaker.
He really is, and he kind of started doing that, his Heisman Trophy campaign.
Oh, yeah.
You know, whenever they had a primetime game on ESPN or a night game, he showed out.
No doubt about it.
Rushing yards, passing yards, touchdowns, the whole nine. Yeah, he would always lay it out there.
And without his top mark, Mark Andrews at tight end. Isaiah Likely looks like he's picking up the slack. Got a touchdown this week, but he doesn't have that safety valve like he usually does with Mark Andrews. So I believe he'll run it a little bit more in those 50 yards. I think that's easy money for him.
Yeah, Andrews is on the IR, so he is out.
Yep.
And that over has smacked for Jacksonville for their last 6 home games. So, you always hear that, they're a different team at home. I think that really is the case for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Take injuries out of the equation, they're pretty tough at home.
Yeah, no, Andy. And one thing I was going to say about the Jaguars, they've scored the first touchdown in 6 of their last 7 games, when they're at home. Yeah. So they start fast when they're at home, and I believe that's what's going to happen here, and it's going to be a dogfight back and forth. That's why I love this over. Yeah. I do believe the Ravens probably take care of business, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville covers here.
I wouldn't be surprised if they cover it. I think Baltimore can win this game and probably will win this game. It feels like two teams kind of going in opposite directions, doesn't it?
I agree.
There's so many question marks with Jacksonville right now, and it seems like as soon as that spotlight got put on them a couple weeks ago,
they're just like, we're supposed to be riding under. That's what they want to do. They want to get into the playoffs. Nobody thinking about them. That's how they almost took out the Chiefs last year.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of riding under it. We have a superstar in our quarterback, but don't put the spotlight on us because we're not like this 49ers. We're not like the Ravens. We're not those superstar teams. So I really like the Ravens to win this game, Jacksonville to cover, and I really like that prop for Lamar Jackson over 50 yards rushing.
All right. Yeah, he can get that.
He can get it.
Okay, should we move on to Monday night?
Monday.
If you're having a tough week, it's okay. Just hold out till Monday night and get it all back.
Yep. Right? That's the way I do it.
The Philadelphia Eagles, they're heading on out to Seattle to take on an up-and-down Seahawks team who are currently sitting at 6-7. Philadelphia, they are a 3.5-point road favorite. That total sitting at 47.5.
Yeah, this is a big one for you, Andy. You're always talking about all the way across the country. This is a big flight for Philadelphia all the way to Seattle.
Come on.
But the Seattle Seahawks, watching their season spiral.
I can't even make an argument for these guys.
The defense is taking steps in the wrong direction. Geno Smith remains questionable. The Philadelphia Eagles have had their issues in the past couple of weeks.
They have.
But they are starting to get healthy right now. They are easier to trust given the sample size of the last 2 seasons. Also, there's no shame in losing to 2 Super Bowl contenders the 49ers and the Cowboys.
Now hold on.
Yeah.
That's one of the curious side notes to this matchup. Seattle's last 3 losses have been to the 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, 49ers.
Yeah.
Last 2 losses for Philadelphia, which you just said, the 49ers and Dallas.
The Cowboys.
And didn't look good against Dallas.
It did not look good.
No, it didn't. So it's kind of funny how these two teams got paired up after playing the same
the
common
best
opponent.
teams in the NFC.
The last 5 games. And all losses.
Yeah, all losses. Of course, everybody loses those teams, but I just believe the Philadelphia Eagles are a way better team here.
Yeah.
They're getting healthy. The offensive line is looking a lot healthier for the Eagles. And like I said, I just do not like that Seattle defense right now. And Geno Smith, if he's not playing quarterback, if it's that Drew Lock character, there's a reason Denver shoot him out to the West Coast.
Take him
here. He's a package deal. So no, I really like the Philadelphia Eagles here by at least a touchdown, Andy. So I love the Eagles in this matchup.
What about that total? 47.5. Philadelphia, they have been scoring. I know they've been struggling, but they still score enough. 4 out of the last 6. They have smacked that over.
Yeah, Andy, and I think that this is a sneaky overplay. I don't think a lot of people are going to be on it, but if I had to lean away, I think it is the over because Philly does need to kind of make a statement here saying, hey, we're still in this race. We're still in the likes with the 49ers and the Cowboys at the top of the NFC. So I believe they make a splash here, probably scoring over 35 points by themselves on this suspect Seattle Seahawks team.
Yeah, and it has gotten to the point for Seattle and their players and everything else, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing,
guys? What are we doing?
All righty, so I think we kind of agree on that one.
Yeah.
I do like that, to look at some of those logistics as far as traveling that. But when you have a team like Philadelphia, and they're mad. They're mad.
They don't like losing.
Yeah, and I do think they're going to.
And I know that offensive line is mad, and I know that defensive line is mad. So I believe that they are going to smack around this Seattle Seahawks team.
I do too. So, Mr. Parlay.
Yeah.
Pounder.
Yeah.
Got to have a parlay play.
I do. I got an all overs parlay for this weekend. I know enough with the unders. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Here we go.
Buying points on all these, though, Andy. I got the Chiefs and Patriots over 35 points. Talking about a pissed off team, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be very, very pissed off and playing one of the worst teams in the NFL, the New England Patriots. I believe over 35 is an easy money bet.
Okay.
Next one, I got Jets versus the Dolphins over 35 points again. This Dolphins team can score 35 on anybody. If you have Zach Wilson chipping in for a couple to get that trade in line, I got that over 35 Jets Dolphins. And the last one, we just talked about it, Ravens Jaguars over 40.5. I think this smacks Lamar Jackson going to be running in those touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence is going to be throwing some as well. Okay, Chiefs, Patriots over 35, Jets, Dolphins over 35, Ravens, Jaguars over 40.5. Putting $25 on this to win 95.
We ain't going over. We're going over 3 times.
We're going over 3.
Take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. World class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. That's Where's the Line, Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Class, and joined by
Jabron.
The Parlay Pounder.
You got it.
And we're getting back into your wheelhouse right here, right now.
Finally.
UFC 296. Well, finally, this is a stacked card.
This is stacked. Top to bottom.
Down.
It's the best.
Wow.
Best one we've seen in a long time, Andy.
And it's going to be at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. All the bright lights. All the names are going to be there. And we're going to talk about 2 big names right here, and I think they're 2 names going in 2 different directions.
Very much so.
Tony Ferguson, one of the all-time greats, taking on Patty the Batty Pimblett. And Patty the Batty is a minus 310 favorite, and I haven't really heard too many people make an argument the other way.
Yeah, Eddie. This is an odd lightweight bout, like you just said. Ferguson versus Patty the Batty. A lot of fans have criticized this booking as Ferguson probably ought to have retired after losing his last 6 fights in a row. However, that's more on Tony Ferguson than it is on the UFC, I would say. And Pimblett is coming off a year on the shelf after a below par performance in his last fight, Andy.
Wasn't there some question marks there?
There was a they thought they kind of swung the votes for him. He also, but he's also a very popular young star.
Sure.
So why shouldn't, the promotion kind of look to build him up with this fight? In their primes, there's no doubt that Tony Ferguson would have smashed the Batty here, Andy.
Yeah.
He would have held the advantage in literally every area of this fight. At this point, though, Ferguson looks beyond done. His durability is shot. He can't wrestle like he once did, and his confidence seems shot as well.
I mean, his career record is 26-9, and you just said that losses
six in a row.
6 of those 9 losses are the last 6 fights.
Yeah, with all that considered, Andy, I'm gonna go with Patty's strong suit here, and I really think Patty wins this by submission, and you can get some pretty dang good odds with that right now, Andy, with a plus 225 bet with Patty the Batty by submission, because I really believe he gets Ferguson down on the ground. I don't believe he's going to knock him out, but I do believe he gets him on the ground and probably submits him. As bad as Tony Ferguson, everybody thinks about Tony Ferguson with the chin and everything. That has not been the case.
Right.
This guy's younger, faster, stronger. He's going to get him on the ground, and he's going to choke him out.
Yeah, and Patty the Batty, he wins 45% of his bouts by submission.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Way more than his KOs, way more than his decisions.
Yep.
He likes to get him to the mat and get that sub.
Yep.
So I really don't know if there's much more to go on this one.
We have to talk about it because these are two of the biggest names in all of UFC. One's a rising star. One is an all-time legend. But, yeah, you got the baddie. If Ferguson can knock him out, nobody will be surprised, I guess. But, that I guess that would be kind of surprising.
I think so. And that's why it's at a minus 310 right now.
Yeah, Andy.
All right, should we talk about a title bout?
A title fight, Andy.
In the flyweight, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Alexandre
Fight bout.
Pantoja versus Brandon Royval, the United States #2 contender in the world.
Yeah.
But he's at a plus 160 versus a minus 192 favorite. The belt, the guy from Brazil's way out in front here.
Yeah, Andy. Pantoja is just on a roll right now like nobody's ever seen, Andy. So Royval, who will take his shot at glory this weekend. It's hard to dispute the idea that the Raw Dog hasn't earned his shot, but since losing to Pantoja back in 2021, he's taken out 3 foes and has finished his last 2, with his overall record being 5-2 in the octagon. The Royval, how he kind of fights, Andy, is a wild, aggressive fighter, and while his technical skills and poise have gotten the better over the years, he's still at best he's still kind of wild. So I really like Pantoja to sit back, wait for his shot, and I really do believe he gets the belt back. Probably a 3rd round submission, gets him on the ground, something like that. I really do believe Pantoja waits him out and gets him on the ground.
That's kind of the story on Royval. That he's kind of a wild character.
For sure.
He kind of plays into that or leans into that. And he takes 2 point. I'm just looking at some of these stats here.
Yeah.
Absorbed significant strikes. He takes 2.6 per round.
Takes some beating. Yeah.
But Pantoja, the champ, he actually takes 3.8 per round. So we might see I think this is going to be a very exciting title bout right here in the flyweight.
And a lot of people are coming up to me, Andy, Pantoja, how good is the champ? And he isn't the most explosive athlete in the division, but his fundamentals are brilliant. Like I was just alluding to, he has no real weaknesses, Andy. And as we see him in this title win, he's insanely tough and durable. That's why you see those, hits so high on him. Something that can be seen by the fact that he's never been finished in any of his 5 losses. He is in it to win it, Andy. I believe Pantoja gets him 3rd or 4th round and probably by submission.
That money line sitting at a 175 straight up there. So not too bad when you're talking UFC.
I love that. Pantoja for the win. He retains the belt.
All righty, should we talk about the main card?
Let's get into some chaos.
We're in the we're talking main card, but this is the headliner right here. Leon Edwards retained his belt.
Yeah.
He is the minus 155 favorite over, you just said it, Chaos Colby Covington, the #3 contender in the world. This has everything. The loudmouth versus the astute guy from England, all of it here. And I think this is one that fans have been looking forward to for a very long time.
For a very long time, Andy. But even this fight, UFC fans are crazy, and the sports media world is crazy as well. This fight has taken some criticism in the months leading up to this. And, it's truthful and somewhat understandable, I guess. But at this point, nobody can argue the status of Leon Edwards, Andy, as one of the UFC's pound-for-pound best. After all, he holds 2 wins of probably the best fighter of all time in this division, Kamaru Usman. While that one in 2022 with the late round kick probably lives in infamy. Yep. Basically, in that second fight, he fought him in every area and didn't struggle to handle that brutal wrestling game. So he has really picked up his side on that side. So whether Colby Covington really deserves this shot is what everybody's saying. But,
he ran his mouth. He got noticed.
That's what you have to do.
He's got an overall record of 17-3.
Yeah.
And he's, I think, the #3 contender in the weight class right now.
He is.
What
2 of those losses are to Kamaru Usman, obviously, for the belt. Chaos is definitely a proven entity in the octagon, and his big mouth, like you said, has also made him a star to a certain level. However, he hasn't fought since March 2022, Andy,
but he won that
win over Masvidal. Yeah. But he has since hung up his gloves, and in fact, a win over Gamebred stands as his only one since 2020, Andy, because he fought him twice. At best, Colby Covington is obviously a great fighter, and he's pushed the level with people like Robbie Lawler. And
this line opened up with Colby being the slight favorite.
For sure.
Then right away, money came pouring in on Leon.
Yeah.
That's why we're sitting at that minus 155 right now. It was basically a pick 'em when this line opened up, and it just like, whoom, flipped right away.
Exactly. And the people are saying, the people that Chaos has fought with Robbie Lawler and, Masvidal, Rocky, Leon Edwards, doesn't carry that same knockout power as those, as those guys. Those guys are straight up power punches. So you can see that Chaos has a way to win this fight, and I really do believe Colby shocks the world and gets him on the ground. It might be a little bit of a boring fight, Andy, if Chaos gets what he's doing.
That's what I'm seeing. A lot of people that I've been following and talking to, they're saying going the distance might be the best bet here.
Exactly. And Colby Covington to win by decision is at that really, really good number at plus 225, Andy. Ooh. So that is some big plus money. But this could go the opposite way, Andy. So if you are on Leon Edwards to win by KO, TKO, or DQ, that is plus 275. So very good odds on both of these fighters. I am going with Chaos. I do believe he wins this by decision in a very close fight.
You talk about Covington's last opponents and how maybe they're not what we thought they were, or, whatever. Yeah. I feel like the same can be said for Edwards when you're talking about Usman, because it's come out how bad his knees really are. The guy was kind of fighting on two bum knees, not one, but two. And the guy has to walk down steps backwards, all that stuff. And if you looked at him, he looked like a Greek god, upper body, and then these skinny little chicken legs, But give Edwards his due. He somehow pulled off that fight in 2021. I mean, he was dead to rights.
He was.
And that head kick bailed him out, and then he just really
stuck it to him in the second fight. So this is and that's a guy that beat Chaos twice. So Colby Covington doesn't have the wins over him, doesn't have the belt. Leon should be favored in this fight, but I really do believe it's too good of a line here for plus 225 for Chaos to win this by decision, because I really believe he will.
Alrighty, Parlay Pounder. You got a parlay play for UFC 296.
I do, Andy, and it's going to we haven't even went through this card, Andy, like we should, because this card has everything. It has Cody Garbrandt. He's got Bryce Mitchell. You got Ian Gary on this thing. You got Rachmaninoff fighting Wonder Boy, Andy. By the way, Rachmaninoff by TKO, huge. Wonder Boy is not going to be anything against Rachmaninoff. So if you want to play on that, do that. The three that I'm putting together, Andy, I like Bryce Mitchell money line at minus 218, Cody Garbrandt minus 198, and then my guy Chaos to win by decision plus 225. I'm putting $25 on this to win 180. I believe these are three things that are very gonna happen this weekend. Bryce Mitchell, Cody Garbrandt, and Colby Covington to win. All three of them. I love it.
You need Chaos to get that.
I do.
That's where you're going to start it earlier.
That's my only underdog.
Earlier in the main card, and you're going to work it up there.
That's the way I do it.
Of course, you got Thug Nasty in there, too.
Thug Nasty. I love my two guys. These are two of my favorite fighters. And then Chaos, I just believe his style of fighting is going to be very hard for Leon to overcome.
He's going to apply the pressure, no doubt. And he likes to get to the mat. He likes to shoot. I mean, he's relentless with it, but you talk about the knockout power, too. There's a lot of things. Oh, he's the number 3 contender in the world.
The whole thing with Colby Covington, his motor is unseen. Nobody can keep up with this guy. He is going to keep pushing until Leon gives him his back. It's gonna happen, and he's just gonna sit on him the entire time. He's gonna get the decision. I love Chaos. Cody Garbrandt, Bryce Mitchell.
Love it. The Parlay Pounder with a couple of parlay plays for the people this week.
Let's go. This is going to be so fun.
Before we sign off, let's remind everybody one more time, December 18th, that is a Monday. We're going to be broadcasting live our 100th episode. Thank you to everyone that helped make this possible, support us, listen to us, all that good stuff. We're going to be at the Herdat Sports Bar and Grill. There's going to be food specials, drink specials. We're going to have return guest, special guest, Jeremy Odom. Gosh darn it, his old San Diego Chargers. Oh, wait. LA Chargers.
LA Chargers.
Haven't really been, living up to the hype. But I'm thinking Easton Stick, the Creighton Prep grad. He's going to turn it around for him.
No, we're going to have everything in this show, Andy. Like you said, Marissa Voss talking about hockey. We got Jeremy Odom talking about his NFL. We're going to do a little college football playoff, matchups and, probably in Iowa. boo, Iowa,
Hey.
bowl game. And then we got some Christmas games on with the NFL that we really want to talk about as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of different stuff. So please come out and enjoy those drink and food specials.
And if you can't make it out, it's going to be in La Vista, the sports bar, nice new sports bar over there by Cabela's. If you're familiar with Cabela's, right off I-80 there.
Yeah.
It's going to be live stream on a couple different platforms. So look us up, tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait.
Well, that'll about do it for us this week, folks. Be sure to follow us on ESPN Tri-City Radio and their Facebook page, and then our Twitter handle and YouTube channel. Those two platforms are growing, and we love the interactions. You guys giving us a bad time, good time, whatever. Hey, for Jabron, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Klassen. Thank you for listening. This has been WTL.